Good morning, children. Today we will study about transportation in plants. This is third part of transportation 3. So, till now we have discussed about the transportation in animals. In animals, we have studied blood circulatory system and lymphatic system for transportation of different materials to whole of the body. But in plants, the materials to be transported for different metabolic activities, primarily they are carbon dioxide, oxygen, water and minerals. These are the important ones, and some others are also like hormones, amino acids, some waste, they are also there. So carbon dioxide and oxygen, all of you know, they are exchanged through the stomatal pore which are present on leaves, underside and also over the leaves and young stems. These stomatal pores are present. Through these pores, carbon dioxide and oxygen, they are diffused from the atmosphere. This is used for photosynthesis and this is for respiration. So these pores, these two, they are transported through the stomata and the gaseous exchange takes place at stomatal level. Now water and minerals are left which are to be absorbed from the soil. These minerals are present in the soil and water is also present in the soil, which tall as well as short plants, they absorb from the soil. Why? Because this is the ground level. These are the roots of the plant. From here stem is there and then plant is there. So water and minerals, it is absorbed by the roots from the soil or the ground and minerals also. So there should be some transportation mechanism so that this water can reach up to the top of the plant. This water, it is absorbed by the root and by simple diffusion or by osmosis, it goes into the cells of the root and then to the stem and then to the leaves. But if a plant is small in size, then what happens? This diffusion pressure or osmotic pressure is sufficient to take the water from the soil up to the top of the plant. But we see that plants are very tall, 20 feet, 30 feet, 40 feet. So in these tall plants, the osmotic pressure of the cells of roots is not sufficient to carry water and minerals to the top of the plant. So some different mechanism for transportation should be there. This is one thing. And one more transportation of substance is there, and that is the metabolic products which are formed by the leaves. What are these metabolic products? These are glucose or sucrose or other carbohydrates which are made by the green part of the plant by photosynthesis. So the products of photosynthesis should also be transported to whole of the body of the plant for its growth and development and for other metabolic activities. So there should be two transportation systems in plant. First, for transportation of water and mineral through roots, and second, transportation of food from leaves. Transportation of water and mineral is only in one direction, as plants are upright and from root it goes up or to the branches. But transportation of food is a two-way process. Food is required in the upper region of the plant also and lower region of the plant also. So it is a two-way process, and first one is the one-way process from bottom to the top of the plant. We will discuss one by one. And second, these transportation systems are slow in comparison to the systems of animals. Why? Because animals need lot of energy. They are moving, they are having many functions to do, but plants on the other hand, they are stationary. They are at one place and they have low energy need. So they don't need a quick transportation or fast transportation system. Instead, a slow transportation system is enough for supplying these raw materials in the plant. So we will discuss one by one. First, transportation of water and minerals. Now look at this diagram. This is the diagrammatic representation of transportation of water and minerals in plants. Transportation of water and minerals, it is also known as ascent of sap. What is sap? Sap is water in which minerals are dissolved. So it is also known as ascent of sap or just transportation of water and minerals. So this is the diagrammatic representation. What are these structures? This and this, they are in transverse section. This is the transverse section of leaf and this is the transverse section of root. All of you know, this is the root of the plant. They divide again and again, and ultimately a root has many root hairs, hair-like projections, and these are known as root hairs. These root hairs are for increasing the surface area of the root to absorb more water. So these root hairs, they are the, suppose this is epidermis, and from epidermis, this is the extension of epidermis and root hair is formed. This is not a separate cell. The same epidermal cell, it extends outwards and root hair is formed. What does it mean? It means that the cytoplasm of the epidermal cell, it is continuous in the root hair also. The most important thing about the root hair is they are very thin, they are having very thin cell wall, and the plasma membrane is single celled, so that osmosis or diffusion can take place very easily. In this diagram, you can see this. This finger-like projection is root hair. This is the epidermis or epidermal cell of root. This is the transverse section of root. This portion is the transverse section of root. So this is the epidermal cell and it extends in the form of a root hair. So near these root hair, these are clay particles or soil particles, and the red line around the particles is the water layer. This red line around this blue particle is water, a film of water, and it is known as capillary water. This capillary water is only water which is available to the root hair, and minerals like sodium, potassium, magnesium, nitrogen, they are also present in the soil. These are also absorbed by root hair. So from these root hairs, minerals as well as water is absorbed. What happens? The plasma membrane of this root hair is not permeable to all the minerals. So these minerals get in the root hair by active transport. Now you know what is active transport. It uses energy or ATP for going in. These ions, they are present in the form of ions, cation and anions. So these ions, to go inside the root hair, they use ATP or energy. And what is the active transport? You have learned plasma membrane. Suppose this is the plasma membrane, and in plasma membrane these carrier proteins are there. These carrier proteins, they catch hold these ions and it is transferred to the cytoplasm of the cell. So energy is used and these ions, they get in the cell by active transport. Now what happened inside the root hair? Now there are more ions, so the concentration is more inside the cell and concentration is less outside the cell. So by simple osmosis, water present outside the cell, it diffusing by osmosis, because the concentration gradient is more inside and less outside, and water is more outside. So from higher concentration to lower concentration, by simple osmosis, water goes in the root hair. In this way, ions as well as water both come in this root hair and epidermal cell. What is next step? From this epidermal cell, these two, they come to the cortical cells. These are cortex. Next to epidermis is cortex. These cortical cells, this red line is for water and minerals, and these cortical cells, by simple osmosis, they have these two substances. Next is endodermis. This endodermis is near the vascular bundles. All of you have learnt vascular bundles in 9th. So these are vascular bundles having xylem and phloem. From endodermis, the water and mineral, they come to the xylem of the vascular bundle. All of you know xylem, it is made up of 4 types of cells: xylem fiber, xylem parenchyma, tracheids and vessels. So vessels and tracheids, they form a continuous channel for water movement. So vessels and tracheids of xylem, these are vessels and tracheids of xylem. This is vessel, a pipe-like structure, and tracheids. Both are forming, they are pipe-like structure and they form a continuous channel for water uplift. The xylem of root, this is, suppose up to here, this is root xylem. It is interconnected with stem xylem. It is continuously connected with stem xylem. This is, suppose this is stem xylem, and this stem xylem is connected to the xylem of leaf. So a continuous channel is formed, and water from here, which is absorbed by the root hair, it is continuously going and lifting in this xylem and it reaches the leaf. Now what happens in leaf? When water is reached in leaf, near this is vascular bundle. Near this vascular bundle, palisade tissue is present. This is palisade parenchyma. This is mesophyll. Both are mesophils, and they have chloroplasts and green pigment, and they photosynthesize to form glucose. what happens, the water from here, it goes to the adjacent cells. And this water in these mesophyll cells, it is used for photosynthesis. Now, the excess water which is not used by the leaves, it comes into this air sac or air cavity which is above the stomata. This is upper epidermis, this is lower epidermis. In lower epidermis, stomata are present. So the excess water, it accumulates here and it comes out of the leaves in the form of water vapor. And this coming out of water in the form of water vapor from the stomatal opening of the leaf is known as transpiration. So, a word transpiration comes into notice here. So, this transpiration is coming out of water vapor from stomata which is accumulated in air sac. What happens when water vapor comes out and transpiration takes place? Transpiration is also known as necessary evil. Why it is known as necessary evil? Because the plant use so much energy to absorb water from here and bringing it here. But most of the water, about 90% of the water, it comes out in the form of water vapor. Then what's the fun of absorbing and then coming out? But it is necessary because this water is used for photosynthesis and other metabolic activity.